Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 12. So let's start with Sheree. She's in the kitchen talking to her kids, and we see Cairo. I remember back in the day, whenever Cairo would make an appearance, it was always like a really big deal, and people would talk about, oh my God, Cairo is so fun, blah, blah, blah. He's so handsome. What is going on with Cairo now? What is he doing now? I wish they would have given us an update. So Sheree says that she has hired a designer to finally put her ideas on paper. So things are slowly but surely progressing with She by Sheree. And I have all the confidence in her because I think there's a lot of pressure on her to make something happen. So I think this is going to be the season when things finally take off. Then we go to Kandi. So she is having a birthday party for her son Ace. It is his sixth birthday party, y'all. We all remember when she was still pregnant with Ace, and she was sitting in her confessional chair, belly huge as I don't know what, she was like all laid back, big old belly. And now that baby that was in her belly is turning 6 years old. So she's invited Kenya and Drew to the birthday party, and she tells them that she had to shut down her play because the C-19 or Omicron had taken over. It had infected her cast, and so she had to shut down production. And Kandi was very emotional about that because it's just really important for her to allow people of color to perform on Broadway. As some of these industries, want to present this picture that they're very open minded, liberal, progressive, all inclusive. But then when you go to see these productions, there's a huge lack of diversity. So it's important for Kenya to allow people of color to pursue their dreams on Broadway. So it really hit her hard that she had to shut down her production. So while Kenya and Drew and Kandi are hanging out at Kandi's house, Sheree, Marlo, and Sanya are hanging out at Marlo's place of business, La Archive. And so Sanya decides to call Kenya, and she wants to make it very clear to Kenya that the trip to Jamaica is a couple's trip. And the way she's talking to Kenya is like somebody, like she's a child or something, because she's talking to her like very clearly and concisely. Kenya, this is a couple's trip. Do you understand? This is a couple's trip. And so Kenya gets upset, and then she hangs up the phone on her. Kenya says that she's offended by how Sanya was talking to her. She says that right now she's going through a divorce, and Sanya knows that she's not dating. And so, okay, Kenya, you know that it's a couple's trip. It's no big deal. You can either show up with a date or show up with nobody and show up by yourself or just not go. It's not that big of a deal, girl. After that, we see Marlo. She went to go see a Christian psychologist to talk about the situation with her nephews. As soon as they said the prayer, Marlo completely broke down, and she explains to the psychologist that she had to kick her nephews out because, they were just kind of like, I guess, button heads with her nephews, and she needed a break and a reset. So the psychologist tells her if you needed a break, that's fine, because who knows what could have happened if you didn't take that break. So you sent them to your sister's house, girl, that's cool, no problem with that. It's just that you need to make sure that your nephews don't feel like you've abandoned them, because their mother has abandoned them, their father has abandoned them. So, you as their current guardian, you just need to make sure that they don't feel abandoned. Now, I don't know if I don't know if Marlo is keeping up communication with her nephews while they're going through their little brief temporary separation. I hope that she is. I hope that she's reassuring her nephews that this is temporary. Once Auntie gets herself together again, y'all will be right back with me, but we are going to have a couple of changes when y'all come back, and just mentally prepare them for the changes that are going to take place, because the psychologist told her that you can't do things the way that you've always done them. So there's going to have to be some changes. So moving on from there, we have Kandi and Todd. They're talking to the two oldest daughters about their estate planning. And I don't have this. To me, was sort of like a useless scene, because whatever's going on with their estate planning, that is their business. It's not our business. It's not their kids' business. That you want to give, it's great that you want to give your kids a heads up, but to go into the details of what y'all are agreeing on, what y'all are not agreeing on, I think it's just unnecessary. When it's all said and done, just let them know, hey, We have an estate that is, our estate is set up to where if anything happens to us, y'all are going to get a little something, something, and just leave it at that. How they get the money, how much they get, it's none of their business because this is Todd and Candy's money. And the kids really have no say so in how much they get or how much is going to be distributed to them when it's all said and done. Just be grateful, Riley, Todd's daughter, just be grateful that y'all are going to be getting something if anything should happen to your parents, because Naomi and Winona and Ashley Judd cannot say the same thing because Naomi Judd left them nothing. Well, that's what the streets are saying, that Naomi Judd had a will, left everything to her husband, nothing to her kids. So the fact that y'all are getting something, however y'all are getting it, however much it is, just be thankful for that. Moving on. Sheree's at the fabric store. She's looking at fabric for She by Sheree. And she tells them that she's going to be designing for both men and women. At first, she was only going to do women's wear, but now she's included men's wear because she says that she's gotten a lot of demand. Demand from who, Sheree? Nobody even knows that your line even exists. Like, who's demanding that you do She by Sheree for men? But supposedly she's getting a lot of demand for menswear, and so she will be including that in her line. And she wants to make sure that the menswear has, she called it VDL, very. I forgot what a VDL stood for. I thought I would remember because it was so shocking. But basically, she says that the men's joggers have to accentuate the print. The print has to be visible. Okay, girl, if it's going to help you sell and make some money and get an income and generate a profit, put the print in there. That's fine. Moving on from there. So Kandi tells Todd that she has been offered to produce another Broadway show. Now, she's kind of iffy about this because the C19, it's still going around in all its variants. So she's kind of iffy about this because she doesn't want to have another play shut down on her. And Todd tells her, hey, just go by faith. Don't worry about it. Just go for it. Do it. Which is kind of, I'm glad that he's encouraging her to do it because he was whining the last time. He was whining about how she's starting all of these projects without him and he's feeling left out. But now he's telling her, go for it. Make your dream come true, girl. Take him up on that offer. So she's going to be, I guess, producing another Broadway show. Moving on from there, Sanya has planned a surprise birthday party for Sheree. Sheree in her confessional says that, it's kind of funny that the women that have known me the longest did not plan a birthday party for me, but the one that's known me the least has. So she's very grateful that Sanya has planned this birthday party for her, even though it was somewhat of a disaster. It did not look, it was at Sanya's house. It did not look professional at all. It looked like she did everything herself. Drew said that she had some Party City decorations, which they did kind of look Party City-ish. It was very chaotic. It looked disorganized. It didn't look like it flowed very well. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't working. For example, the music wasn't working. The photo booth wasn't working. I think it was the one that does the 360 photos. That wasn't working. They said the food was dry. Kenya said that the beef and chicken patties were super dry. The food was catered. It wasn't even homemade, which is fine. You don't have to, that's a lot of stuff to cook. So we get you that you don't want to cook, but the food evidently wasn't, it was just a disaster. The party itself was a complete disaster. But anyways, so Sanya takes Kenya to go see the house because Kenya's really into home decor, interior design, whatever. So she takes her around, gives her like a little mini tour of the house and acts like she's interested in Kenya's ideas on how she should decorate her home. But she really wanted to talk to Kenya one-on-one about Kenya hanging up the phone on her. And she tells Kenya, don't you ever hang up on me again. If you have a problem with what I'm saying, just communicate with me. Don't hang up on me. And Kenya was like, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm going to hang up on you if you're going to be talking crazy to me. And Sanya was like, but I wasn't talking crazy to you. And Kenya says, yes, you were talking crazy to me because you were talking, your tone was really off. You were very condescending. So yeah, I didn't like how you were talking to me. So I hung up the phone on you. And I'm going to keep on doing that if you keep on talking to me like that. But anyway, at the end of the day, Sanya apologizes to Kenya. And I think it's great that she apologized to Kenya. She's showing that she is the bigger person, but I don't think Kenya really cared. Kenya is always going to do what Kenya wants to do. And I don't think Kenya really took the apology to heart. So moving on from there, Sheree arrives and, They sing happy birthday to her, so on and so forth. They sit down to have dinner, and then Drew starts a fight with Sheree over Fatum. And basically, she blames Sheree. I don't know why Drew is mad at Sheree for what Fatum did, because it was Fatum that did it. Even if Sheree asked Fatum to go do a background check on Drew and her husband, Fatum had the opportunity to say no. So she still did it. I'm not saying that Sheree asked her to, but I don't understand why Drew has all this animosity towards Sheree over what Fatum did. So Sheree wasn't going to back down. She was like, yeah, I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know if I'm talking to Danielle, if I'm talking to Drew, if I'm talking to Nancy Drew. I don't know who you are, because you have a lot of aliases and identities out there. And so then Drew went right back, and she talked about, she made some jabs about Sheree's age, and, saying that Sheree had said, what did she say? You threw the rock and hid your hand. And Sheree was like, when did I do that? What did I say? And Drew was like, well, I understand that you're getting older and that you're getting very forgetful. And then Sheree came back with, girl, you can only hope and pray and dream that you look like this when you're my age. Okay, so stop with the whole getting old. I'm old and I'm cold. So, you better pray that you look half as good as I look at this age. And so, which is absolutely true, because Sheree looks amazing for her age, 52 years old, even though Marlo said 60. For 52 years old, Sheree looks great. And Drew is nowhere near that old and doesn't even look half that good. So what can you say? So they're going back and forth on that. But then Drew ends up singing Sheree happy birthday after all of that. It's like, it's very crazy to me how these women can just like switch their whole attitudes, behavior, mindsets in a second. 1 minute they're yelling at each other, insulting each other in the worst way possible. And then the next minute, Drew is serenading Sheree with a happy birthday, and Sheree is absolutely loving it. Well, I'm glad at the end of the day, they kind of, I guess they made up. They said that Drew has a hard time saying I'm sorry, so her singing happy birthday was her way of apologizing to Sheree. So if they've smoothed things out and they're back on the same page, that's wonderful. All we can do is just accept it. But it was just crazy. Like, 1 minute they were arguing, the next minute she's singing to her, and they're laughing and everything is wonderful again. But it was good to see. It is what it is. Whatever. That is my review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining me on your way out. Don't forget to rate the video if you like this. Subscribe. Other than that, I will talk to you later. Bye.